The Ghidorah family extends across multiple eras and universes. They are planetary destroyers and are usually a top rival to Godzilla. Death, or Desghidorah, is a unique part of this family, with bold black and red coloring and a commanding four-legged stance, making it stand out amongst its golden brethren. It's only been used on film once, and it was in the spin-off series Return of Mothra, so it has yet to face off with an iteration of the Big G. So let's see how this three-headed kaiju measures up against versions of Ghidorah and Godzilla, a selection of robots and other monsters, and some well-known monuments to find out just how big is Desghidorah. Starting off our measurements, the evil space kaiju stands at 50 meters or 164 feet tall and has a wingspan of 80 meters or 262.5 feet wide. These numbers may not seem too impressive, but you've got to remember that Death G has 4 legs and is 100 meters or 328 feet long, making it weigh in at 75,000 metric tons. Looking to its family, Cretaceous and Grand King are both of a similar height, which makes sense as they appear in part 3 of the same series. The two are actually the same creature, with Cretaceous as its younger form. It was 40 meters tall with a 50 meter wingspan and was a third of Death G's weight. The modern type Grand King had grown to 60 meters tall, with an increased wingspan now at 80 meters, so it's a bit bigger, but he's got a third of the weight, making Desghidorah one huge kaiju for his era and his species. Outside of the Return of Mothra series, the other Ghidorahs for the most part are much larger. GMK is right there at 50 meters tall and a wingspan of 305 feet, but it's only got a third of its weight. The Showa King was 100 meters or twice as tall with a larger 150 meter wingspan, but it had less than half the mass. But if we bring in the Heisei version, it's 3 times the height at 150 meters. It has a 175 meter wingspan, and even on 2 legs, it was a close match on the scales at 70,000 metric tons. It would then gain a slight advantage in mass in its mecha form at 80,000 metric tons. With Monster Zero the Monsterverse, the comparisons start to get out of hand. It's the tallest of the species at 158.8 meters tall, and its wingspan is enormous, 8 times the size of Desghidorah's. If you're wondering about the animated trilogy version, The Golden Demise, its only official measurement available is a 20-kilometer length, but he's an extra-dimensional creature and maybe more of an homage than a direct relative. But the size matchup I've been most curious about is how he looks next to the Kaiser, the only other 4-legged example. And it's not surprising that the Kaiser is almost 3 times its height, with a 50 meter advantage in wingspan and overall length, and that's excluding its tails. It's heavier too, by 25,000 metric tons. The 2 Showa Godzillas are at the same height, but they're 55,000 metric tons lighter. Other Gs of similar height are the Millennium versions of 2000 and Megaguirus, with each one at 50 meters. The smaller Phileas from the animated trilogy is equally tall, but at only 10,000 metric tons, it wouldn't stand a chance against it. The Kiryu-G is a bit taller at 55 meters, along with GMK at 60 meters, but then Desghidorah begins to get outclassed by the larger versions, like the late Heisei era's eventual 100-meter height, and the inclusion of heavy hitters like Shin, with its 4th form standing at 118.5 meters, and Legendary, who's currently at 119.8 meters or 393 feet tall. And I really have to rescale things to bring in Godzilla Earth. He's 300 plus meters or over 984 feet tall, or 6 times bigger than Death Ghidorah. Though it's important to note that, like Phileas, Earth G is plant-based and extremely light for its size, coming in with a mere 25,000 metric ton advantage. Looking outside of the 2 kings, this duo from Final Wars are of a similar build. Ebirah is at the same height and length, and Kamacuras is only 10 meters shorter in both dimensions, though they are seriously outweighed here at 20,000 and 12,000 metric tons respectively. Orga, the Showa era's Heteron Titanosaurus, along with the Colossal Titan, all have 10 meters on Desghidorah at an even 60. Megalon's a bit closer at 55 meters, and the Showa King Caesar and Jet Jaguar are of equal height. For some comparisons of the mechanical sort, there's the AT-AT or AT-AT all-terrain armored transport from Star Wars. They're at 20 meters, or less than half the height of the three-headed dragon kaiju. The Dragon Zord is a better matchup at 38 meters tall with a 62 meter length, but it's a lightweight at only 155 metric tons. The Pac-Rim Jaegers of Gypsy Danger and Gypsy Avenger have a 29 to 32 meter advantage, but like the Dragon Zord, they lack the mass to compete, with both only weighing around 1,800 metric tons. Now for some human perspective, let's place Desghidorah next to some famous landmarks. He's only a meter above the Arc de Triomphe, and the Leaning Tower of Pisa is just a bit taller at 56.4 meters. It's just under half the height of the Statue of Liberty's 93 meters or 305 feet, and the London Eye, the enormous observation wheel, is 120 meters tall, a good 70 meters above Death G. For some more kaiju size comparisons or to learn more about Desghidorah, check out one of these videos. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.